The plate of eggs shattered against the wall, missing Clara Dart's head by inches. "You stupid, worthless girl," Elena screamed. "I asked for scrambled eggs, not this runny garbage." 23-year-old Clara flinched, pressing herself against the kitchen counter. Her hands trembled. "I'm sorry, I'll make new ones." "You'll make new ones?" Elena advanced on her, eyes blazing. "With what? The expensive organic eggs you keep wasting. Do you know how much those cost? I didn't mean to." "You never mean to." Elena's hand shot out, grabbing Clara's hair and yanking her head back. "But you always do. Screw up, make mistakes, cost me money. You're just like your pathetic mother." "Don't," Clara's voice cracked. "Don't talk about my mother." "Slap." The sound echoed through the kitchen. Clara's cheek burned. Tears sprang to her eyes. "I'll talk about whoever I want in my house," Elena hissed, her face inches from Clara's. "Your mother was a paranoid lunatic, and you're following right in her footsteps." Becky appeared in the doorway, phone in hand, filming. 21 years old now, beautiful and cruel, just like her mother. "Ooh, this is going to get so many views. Hashtag Crazy Clara strikes again." "Becky, don't," Clara pleaded. "Oh, shut up," Becky laughed. "Nobody cares what you think. You're literally the maid." This story gets even more intense. Don't miss it. Subscribe now. And tell me where you are watching from, I want to know. Elena released Clara's hair with a shove, sending her stumbling against the counter. "Clean this mess up, then scrub all the floors in this house. On your hands and knees. And if I find a single spot of dirt, you'll do it again." "But I already cleaned yesterday. Are you talking back to me?" Elena's voice dropped to a dangerous whisper. Clara's throat closed. She shook her head quickly. "That's what I thought." Elena's smile was ice. "Now where's your father? Simeon!" Heavy footsteps thundered down the stairs. Clara's heart clenched with desperate hope as her father appeared in the kitchen doorway. Simeon Dart, 48 years old, once a loving, devoted father, now a stranger who looked at her with cold indifference. "Daddy!" Clara's voice broke. She pointed at the shattered plate, the eggs dripping down the wall, her reddening cheek. "Please, please make her stop. I can't do this anymore." Simeon looked at her, really looked at her. For one second, Clara thought she saw something flicker in his eyes. Recognition, love, the father she remembered. Then Elena spoke. "She ruined breakfast again, Simeon, wasted expensive food, and when I corrected her, she started screaming at me and Becky. The girl is unstable." "That's not true." Clara's voice rose desperately. "I didn't scream. She threw the plate at me. She pulled my hair." "Listen to her," Elena said softly, putting a hand on Simeon's arm. "The paranoid accusations. Just like Sophie at the end." Simeon's face hardened into stone. "Daddy, no, I'm not lying. Look at my face. Enough, Clara." His voice was cold, flat, dead. "Stop being dramatic. Elena is your mother now. You will treat her with respect. She's not my mother." The words exploded from Clara before she could stop them. "My mother is dead. And she—" "Enough!" Simeon's shout made Clara jump, made her whole body flinch. "I don't want to hear another word. Apologize to Elena. Now!" Clara stared at him, tears streaming down her face. "You're really going to make me apologize? After she—" "Now, Clara." The words died in her throat. She looked at her father, the man who was supposed to protect her, and saw nothing but ice. "I'm sorry," Clara whispered, the words like poison on her tongue. "Good." Simeon turned to leave. "And clean up this mess. You have chores to do." He walked away. Just walked away, like he always did now. Elena's smile was triumphant. "You heard your father. Get to work." Clara dropped to her knees among the broken plate and ruined eggs, her hands shaking as she picked up the pieces. Each shard felt like her life. Sharp, broken, dangerous. Becky laughed, still filming. "This is comedy gold. Wait till everyone at school sees this." "Becky, come on," Elena said cheerfully, switching moods like flipping a light switch. "Let's go shopping. I saw the most beautiful dress yesterday. Ooh, can we get that Gucci bag too?" "Of course, darling. Anything for my princess." Their voices faded as they left, designer heels clicking on the marble floor Clara had scrubbed just yesterday. The front door slammed. The house fell silent except for Clara's ragged breathing. Clara knelt alone in the kitchen, surrounded by broken glass and shattered eggs. The morning sun streamed through the window, mocking her with its warmth. "This is my life now," she thought. 23 years old, a servant in my own home. And nobody believes me. Nobody helps me. Nobody cares. She picked up a shard of broken plate. Sharp. Dangerous. The edge caught the light. For just a moment she wondered what would happen if she... No, she couldn't think like that. She had to survive, had to find a way out. But how? She'd been trapped in this nightmare for 8 years. 8 long years since her mother died. 8 years since Elena entered their lives like poison disguised as medicine. 8 years since her father became a stranger wearing a familiar face. 8 years since Travis Ashford left and never came back. Clara's throat tightened at the thought of him. Travis, her childhood best friend, her first love, the boy who'd promised to never leave her, the boy who'd abandoned her when she needed him most. She wondered where he was now, if he ever thought about her, if he knew what had happened to the girl he'd once loved. Probably not, Clara thought bitterly, dumping the broken plate pieces in the trash. He probably moved on years ago, living his best life in New York, dating someone beautiful and accomplished, someone who isn't broken. Clara grabbed the mop, her hands already aching. She had floors to scrub. Hours later, after scrubbing the floors until her hands bled, Clara dragged herself up the narrow attic stairs. Each step felt like climbing a mountain. It wasn't a room, just converted storage space, a thin mattress on the floor, one lamp, a small window that didn't open. In winter, she froze. In summer, she baked. Her childhood bedroom, the one with the bay window and reading nook her mother Sophie had designed, belonged to Becky now, had been repainted pink and decorated with expensive things Clara would never touch again. Clara collapsed on the mattress and stared at the water-stained ceiling, her body aching, her spirit broken. 23 years old. No high school diploma. Elena had pulled her out at 17, claiming homeschool that never happened. No college, no job skills, no friends, no identity documents. Elena had lost her birth certificate, social security card, and passport years ago. Clara was a ghost, invisible, trapped. She reached under the mattress and pulled out the one thing she'd managed to hide from Elena, a photograph. Faded and creased from being held so many times, the edges soft from her tears. Her and Travis at 15, sitting by the lake, his arm around her shoulders, both of them laughing at something long forgotten. Back when life made sense. Back when she had hope. "Where are you now, Travis?" Clara whispered to the photo, tracing his face with her fingertip. "Do you ever think about me? Do you even remember me?" Probably not, her mind whispered back cruelly. He moved on years ago. He's probably in New York with someone beautiful, someone whole, someone who isn't broken. Clara pressed the photo to her chest and let the tears come. She cried until there was nothing left inside her but emptiness. The memory came unbidden, as it always did when she looked at that photograph. She closed her eyes and let herself remember when everything was different. 12-year-old Clara Dart stood at her father's construction site, watching workers build the skeleton of a massive building against the bright blue sky. The summer heat shimmered off the concrete. The sound of spray paint made her turn. "You know that's technically vandalism," she said. A boy about 13 spun around, spray paint can in hand. He'd been tagging the construction equipment. "Just initials to you gonna tell?" he challenged, but his eyes showed more curiosity than fear. Clara studied the half-finished graffiti, then sat down on a stack of lumber. "Depends. Why are you doing it?" The boy shrugged, some of his bravado fading. "My dad owns this company and doesn't even know I exist. Figured I'd make him notice." Clara nodded slowly. "My dad's so busy with work he barely notices me either. But vandalism seems like a bad plan. You'll just make him angry, not make him see you." The boy hesitated, then sat beside her, setting down the spray paint. "I'm Travis." "Clara, your dad is Simeon Dart, the contractor?" "Yep. And your dad is Mr. Ashford, right? The one who owns Ashford Industries?" "Unfortunately," Travis kicked at the dirt. "He's too busy building empires to notice his son." Clara understood that loneliness perfectly. "Want to see something cool?" Travis took her to the top of the unfinished building. They climbed the skeletal stairs carefully, emerging onto what would someday be the roof. The whole town of Brookstone spread out below them. Small houses, tree-lined streets. The lake glittering in the distance like scattered diamonds. "Someday," Clara said, wind whipping her hair, "I'm going to design buildings like this. Big, beautiful ones that touch the sky." "Yeah?" Travis smiled at her, really smiled, not the fake one he'd used earlier. "I think you will." That was the day everything began. Clara opened her eyes, the memory fading. 4 years of friendship after that day, secret meetings at the lake, late-night phone calls about dreams and fears and everything in between. Her mother, Sophie, had loved Travis like a son. She made them snacks, pretended not to notice when they stayed up too late talking. Dad worked constantly, but he came home to his family every night. Their house had been full of love. She thought it would last forever. Then one evening at the lake, everything changed. Travis was 17, Clara 16. The sun was setting, painting the water gold and pink. "I need to tell you something," he said, his voice nervous in a way Clara had never heard before. He took her hand. "I'm leaving for Colombia in 6 months, and before I go, I need you to know. I'm in love with you, Clara. I have been for years." Clara's heart soared. "Travis, you don't have to answer now," he said quickly. "I know your mom's surgery is coming up. Everything's stressful. But I needed you to know. I couldn't leave without telling you. I love you too," Clara whispered, tears of joy in her eyes. "I've loved you for so long. I thought you only saw me as a friend." "Never." Travis pulled her close. "You've always been more than that. You've always been everything." They kissed as the sun set over Brookstone, two teenagers who thought they had all the time in the world. "After your mom's surgery, after everything settles, we'll figure this out," Travis promised. "Together." "Together," Clara agreed. 2 weeks later, Sophie Dart died in a car crash. Clara stood in the rain at her mother's funeral, completely numb. The world felt muted, distant, like she was watching it through foggy glass. Travis held an umbrella over both of them. He hadn't left her side for 3 days. "Brake failure," someone whispered behind them. Such a tragedy. So sudden. But it hadn't been sudden. Mom had been acting strange for weeks before the crash. Scared, anxious, looking over her shoulder. Clara had heard her on the phone just 2 nights before. "I have proof. I'm going to the police tomorrow." Tomorrow never came. "I don't understand," Clara whispered, watching them lower her mother's casket into the ground. "Why would she be driving so fast? She was always so careful. Always." Travis squeezed her hand. "I don't know. But I'm here. I'm not going anywhere, I promise." Across the grave, Simeon Dart stood like a broken statue. The life had drained from his eyes, leaving them empty. Hollow. Clara barely recognized him. 1 week after the funeral, Clara came home from school to find a strange woman in the kitchen. "Oh, you must be Clara." The woman smiled warmly, turning from the stove. "Beautiful blonde hair, elegant features, designer clothes. I'm Elena. I've been helping your father." A little girl peeked out from behind her, maybe 13 years old with the same blonde hair. "This is my daughter Becky," Elena said, her hand gentle on the girl's shoulder. Simeon appeared in the doorway, and Clara's heart lifted, but his expression was distant. "Elena was one of your mother's nurses at the hospital. She's been volunteering to help us." Clara looked around. The house was spotless, cleaner than it had been in weeks. Something delicious simmered on the stove. Fresh flowers on the table. "I'm a widow," Elena said softly, her eyes sympathetic. "I lost my husband 3 years ago. I understand grief. I understand how hard it is. I wanted to help." She seemed genuine, kind, and they desperately needed help. Clara had been trying to cook and clean while keeping up with school, and she was failing at everything. "Thank you," Clara said, meaning it. "That's really nice of you." "Of course, sweetheart." Elena's smile was warm. "We have to take care of each other, don't we?" Over the next weeks, Elena became a fixture in the Dart household, always there when they woke up. Always helpful, always watching. One afternoon, Clara came home early from school and caught Elena going through Sophie's jewelry box in the master bedroom. "Oh!" Elena looked startled, quickly closing it. "Your father asked me to organize things. You know, to help him sort through everything." But Clara's mother had already organized everything. She was meticulous about that. Something felt wrong. That night, Clara found her father in his study. "Dad, I don't know about Elena," Clara said carefully. "Something feels off." Simeon's face hardened, an expression Clara had never seen before. "Elena is helping us when we desperately need it. Don't be selfish, Clara." The word hit like a slap. Selfish. Her father had never called her selfish. Not once in 16 years. "I'm not being selfish, I just—" "Enough." Simeon turned back to his papers, dismissing her. "Elena stays. We need her." It was the first crack in their relationship. It wouldn't be the last. What Clara didn't know was that every night, after she went to bed, Elena slipped pills into Simeon's evening whiskey. Just small doses, anti-anxiety medication mixed with something stronger, something to make him foggy, compliant, suggestible. She crushed them carefully, stirred them in, watched them dissolve. Clara seems troubled, Elena would say softly as Simeon's eyes glazed over. Have you noticed? She's been acting out at school. Her teachers called today. They hadn't. She said something cruel to Becky today. Made my poor daughter cry. She hadn't. Night after night, week after week. Subtle poison. Chemical and verbal. Turning father against daughter. And Simeon, grief-stricken and drugged, believed every word. 6 months after Sophie's death, Travis and Clara sat by the lake. He was 17 now, about to leave for Colombia. She was 16, trying to hold everything together. I have to leave next week for Colombia, Travis said, taking her hand. I know, Clara said quietly. Come with me. Travis's eyes were desperate. After you graduate, we'll get an apartment in New York. We'll figure it out together. I can't leave Dad. Not now. He's barely functioning. Clara's voice broke. He needs me. I don't trust Elena. He's grieving. Just give me time. Let me make sure he's okay. Then I'll come to New York. I promise. Travis pulled her close. Call me every day. Promise me. Every day, Clara agreed, meaning it with her whole heart. For the first 2 months, they kept that promise. Then everything changed. 3 months after Travis left, 17-year-old Clara was doing homework when Elena knocked softly on her bedroom door. Clara, honey, can we talk? Sure. Clara looked up from her textbook. Elena sat on the bed, her face filled with concern. Your father and I are worried. You're on your phone constantly. All night. Your grades are slipping. My grades are fine. Clara, Elena's voice was gentle but firm, you got a D on your history test. Your chemistry teacher emailed your father. You're failing. That wasn't true. Clara had gotten an A on that history test. But how could she prove it? Your father thinks you need a break from technology. To focus on healing. To focus on your future. No. Panic rose in Clara's chest. I need my phone to talk to Travis. That boy who barely calls anymore? Elena's voice was soft. Poisonous. The one who moved to New York and forgot about you. He didn't forget. He calls every day. Does he? Elena tilted her head. When was the last time you actually heard his voice, Clara? Really talk to him, not just texts. Clara frowned. The calls had been getting shorter, the texts more distant. But that was just because Travis was busy with college, wasn't it? He's just busy with school. Or he's moved on. Elena held out her hand. Phone, Clara. Your father insists. No, Clara. Simeon appeared in the doorway, eyes slightly glazed. That look he got more and more often now. Give Elena the phone. Now. Clara looked between them, her heart breaking. Dad, please. Now, Clara. With shaking hands, Clara surrendered her phone. Her last connection to Travis, to her old life, to hope. What she didn't know was that for the past month, Elena had been reading every message, deleting Travis's calls before they could ring, responding to his texts as Clara, pushing him away word by poisonous word. That night, Elena sat in her bedroom, scrolling through Clara's phone with a satisfied smile. Travis's latest text, I miss you so much. Are you okay? You've been so distant. Elena's fingers flew across the keyboard, typing as Clara, I'm fine. Stop asking, Travis, Clara, what's wrong? Did I do something? Elena as Clara, you're being clingy. I need space. Travis, please just talk to me. I'm worried about you. Elena as Clara, there's nothing to talk about. Maybe we should just be friends. A long pause. Elena could almost feel Travis's heartbreak through the screen. Then, if that's what you want, Elena as Clara, it is. I think it's best if we don't talk for a while. I need to focus on my family. Travis, I understand. I love you, Clara. If you ever need me, I'm here. Elena as Clara, goodbye, Travis. Elena smiled, then systematically deleted the entire conversation. Every text. Then she scrolled back through months of messages, months of love and promises and shared dreams. Deleted them all, every photo, every memory, every trace of Travis Ashford. She blocked his number, blocked him on all social media, erased him completely. By the time Clara got her phone back weeks later, briefly, supervised, there would be no trace of Travis at all. Just silence. Just abandonment. Just one more reason for Clara to feel alone. 9 months after Sophie's death, Clara was making breakfast when Simeon made his announcement. Elena and I are getting married. Tomorrow. Clara dropped the spatula. It clattered on the floor. What? At the courthouse, just family. His voice was flat, emotionless. Tomorrow. But, Dad, that's so soon. We've decided it's best. Elena's lease is ending. It makes financial sense. Does anyone else know? Did you tell Grandma? Or the Ashfords? Simeon frowned, like he was trying to remember something through fog. The Ashfords. Why would I tell them? Because they're our friends. We're our friends. We've grown apart. His voice was flat. Medicated. Be ready at noon tomorrow. Wear something nice. He left. Clara stood frozen in the kitchen, the morning sun mocking her through the window. She tried to find her phone to call someone. Anyone. It was gone, locked away somewhere. She was completely cut off. The next day, 13-year-old Becky was flower girl in a designer dress. 17-year-old Clara stood in the back in jeans and an old sweater because no one had told her to dress up. No one had told her anything. I now pronounce you husband and wife, the justice of the peace said in a bored monotone. Simeon kissed Elena. Becky clapped. Clara felt like she was drowning, watching her life end from underwater. That night, Elena and Becky moved into the master bedroom, her mother's room, into Sophie's sanctuary. Clara heard them laughing as they rearranged furniture, as they boxed up Sophie's things, as they erased every trace of the woman who had lived and loved there. Clara locked herself in her bedroom. Soon she wouldn't even have that, and cried until she had no tears left. Years passed in a blur of abuse and isolation. Clara was pulled from school at 17, moved to the attic at 18. Her documents disappeared. Her friends stopped calling, or maybe Elena had driven them away. Her father became more and more of a stranger, his eyes perpetually glazed, his love for Clara buried under layers of medication and manipulation. And through it all, Clara survived. Barely. Cleaning and cooking and being treated like a servant in her own home, taking the abuse, taking the cruelty, because she had nowhere else to go. Now, lying in the attic, holding Travis's photograph, Clara felt the weight of 8 years crushing her. She was 23 years old with nothing, no future, no hope, no way out. She closed her eyes, exhaustion pulling her towards sleep. She didn't know that tonight would be different. She didn't know that tonight everything would change. Clara woke to the smell of smoke. The attic was filling with grey haze, thick and choking. Flames licked up through the floorboards, orange and hungry. "Help!" Clara screamed, throwing herself at the locked attic door. "Fire! Help me!" No response. The house was silent except for the crackling flames growing louder. Angrier, they'd left her. Elena and Becky and her father had left her to burn. Or worse, had Elena started the fire on purpose? Clara grabbed the chair, the only furniture she had, and rammed it against the door. Again. The old wood splintered. One more hit. The door crashed open. Smoke poured out into the hallway. The stairway was engulfed in flames. No way down. The heat was overwhelming. No way out. Clara ran to the window, coughing, eyes burning. 3 stories up. No fire escape. No ledge. Below she saw them, Elena, Becky and Simeon standing on the front lawn watching. Elena's face was calm, almost satisfied. She did this, Clara realized with horror. She's trying to kill me. Clara tried the window, painted shut, like everything else in this prison. She grabbed the lamp and smashed it against the glass. Glass exploded outward. Cold November air rushed in. Smoke poured out around her in thick clouds. "Help!" Clara screamed down at them, her voice raw. "Dad, please, please help me!" Simeon took 1 step forward. Elena grabbed his arm firmly, holding him back. Sirens wailed in the distance. Too far away. Too late. Clara looked down at the concrete driveway 3 stories below. Jump and maybe survive. Stay and definitely die. The heat behind her was unbearable. The flames reaching for her like hands. Her hair was starting to singe. This was it. 8 years of torture. 8 years of survival. And this was how it ended. Clara climbed onto the windowsill, broken glass cutting her hands, cold wind whipping her hair. A hand grabbed her ankle from inside the burning attic. The hand yanked Clara backward with brutal force. She screamed, fighting against the grip, certain it was Elena coming to finish what the fire had started. Clara kicked wildly, her lungs burning from smoke, her vision blurring. "Stop fighting me!" a voice shouted. "Male! Not her father! We have to go now!" Clara's eyes flew open through the stinging smoke. A man in a firefighter's jacket had grabbed her, pulling her away from the window, but he wasn't in full gear, just the jacket over regular clothes. "The stairs," Clara choked out. "I know another way. Come on." He dragged her across the burning attic floor toward the corner she'd never paid attention to. With his boot, he kicked at a section of wall. Once. Twice. The old drywall crumbled, revealing a crawl space behind it. "Access panel to the roof," he said, coughing. "Old houses like this always have them. Go." Clara didn't hesitate. She crawled through the narrow opening, splinters tearing at her clothes. The man followed, slamming the panel shut behind them just as flames engulfed the attic. They emerged onto a section of sloped roof. The cold November air hit Clara like a slap, beautiful and painful. Below she could see Elena, Becky, and Simeon still standing on the lawn. They hadn't noticed her escape yet. "Fire escape on the east side," the man said, pulling her along the roof ridge. "Can you make it?" Clara nodded, too shocked to speak. They scrambled across the shingles, and Clara finally saw it. A rusted fire escape she'd forgotten existed, hidden on the side of the house facing the woods. The sirens were getting closer. They climbed down quickly, Clara's cut hands leaving blood on the metal rails. When her feet hit solid ground, her legs nearly gave out. The man steadied her. "Thank you," Clara gasped, her whole body shaking. "Thank you so much. I don't know how to— Who are you? Why did you—" "Don't thank me. Thank God you're alive." The man's voice was firm but not unkind. He was pulling her toward the tree line, away from the house. "Wait, I need to know who you are. Right now you need to survive. Questions later." He glanced back at the burning house. "We need to move, now." Clara looked back one last time, through the smoke and flames. She could see Elena scanning the property, searching for something. Searching for her body, Clara realized with horror. The man pulled her into the woods before Elena could spot them. They ran through the darkness, branches whipping at Clara's face. She could barely feel them. Her entire body was shaking, from cold, from adrenaline, from the impossible fact that she was outside, away, for the first time in years without Elena's eyes on her. The man led her to a dark sedan parked on a service road. He opened the passenger door. "Get in." Clara hesitated. "I don't even know who you are." "Where are you taking me?" "Somewhere safe." He met her eyes. "You can trust me, or you can go back and explain to the firefighters why you were locked in that attic. Your choice. But choose fast." The sirens were getting louder. Clara climbed into the car. As they pulled away, she could see the orange glow of the fire through the trees. Her prison. Burning. They drove in silence for several minutes before the man finally spoke. "I'm Marcus. Marcus Chen." "Clara Dart," she said automatically, then realized how absurd that was. "But I guess you already knew that." "I did." "How? Why were you there? Why did you save me?" The questions tumbled out. Marcus kept his eyes on the road. "Right place, right time. Be grateful and don't ask too many questions." "That's not an answer." "It's the only one you're getting tonight?" His tone was final. Clara studied him in the dim light from the dashboard. Asian features, maybe late 20s, dressed in dark clothes under that firefighter jacket. He moved with purpose, like someone trained for emergencies. "Are you a firefighter?" "No, police." "No, then what?" "I said no more questions." Marcus pulled into a motel parking lot. "You're exhausted. You're in shock. You need to rest. We'll talk more tomorrow." Clara wanted to argue, but her body was shutting down. The adrenaline was wearing off, leaving her hollow and shaking. Marcus was right. She needed rest. Marcus had already booked a room under a fake name. "Stay here. Keep the door locked. Don't open it for anyone but me." He handed her a prepaid phone. "If something happens, call 911. But don't call anyone else. Not yet." "Why not?" "Because right now, everyone thinks you're dead. And dead is the safest thing you can be until we figure out what to do next." He left before Clara could ask anything else. The room was basic but clean. Clara stood in the middle of it, still shaking, not quite believing this was real. She walked into the bathroom and caught sight of herself in the mirror. Soot-streaked face, singed hair, cuts on her hands and arms, eyes that looked haunted. She turned on the shower and stepped under the spray, watching the water run black with ashen blood and 8 years of accumulated pain. She stayed there until the water ran cold, until she could finally breathe without coughing, until she felt almost human again. Marcus had left clothes for her, jeans and a sweater that actually fit. How had he known her size? How had he known any of this? "Right place, right time," he'd said. Clara didn't believe in coincidences. Not anymore, but she was too tired to figure it out tonight. She collapsed onto the bed and fell into an exhausted sleep. Clara woke to sunlight streaming through the thin motel curtains and the sound of a TV. She sat up, disoriented. Marcus was sitting in the chair by the window, watching the news on his laptop, coffee cups on the table. "You're awake," he said. "Good. You need to see this." He turned the laptop toward her. The local news was showing aerial footage of the Dart house, or what was left of it. The entire structure was a blackened skeleton against the morning sky. The headline made Clara's stomach drop. "Devastating house fire leaves 1 dead, 1 missing." The reporter's voice filled the room. Tragedy struck the Dart family home in the early hours of this morning. Simeon Dart, 48, was found dead inside the residence from smoke inhalation. His wife Elena Dart and daughter Becky Dart escaped unharmed, but stepdaughter Clara Dart, 23, is missing and presumed dead. Clara's hand flew to her mouth. Her father was dead. The camera cut to Elena standing outside what looked like a hotel, wrapped in a blanket, tears streaming down her face. Becky stood beside her, also crying. But Clara knew that face. She'd seen Becky fake tears 1,000 times. "This is devastating," Elena sobbed into the microphone. Clara struggled with severe mental illness for years. Last night she had a breakdown. She was screaming, throwing things. We tried to help her, but she locked herself in the attic. "My husband," her voice broke. "My husband tried to save her. He ran back into the house to get to her, but the smoke was too thick. He died trying to save the daughter who did this to us." "No!" Clara lunged forward, but Marcus caught her arm. "Watch," he said quietly. Becky spoke next, her voice shaking. "Clara has been getting worse for months. We were so worried about her. We kept hoping she'd get better, that we could help her. But—" She wiped her eyes. "Now my father is dead, and Clara is gone, and I don't know how to live with this," the reporter continued. "Police have confirmed that the fire appears to have been started in the attic, where Clara Dart was staying. While investigators are still examining the scene, sources say it's believed Clara may have started the fire during a mental health crisis. Her body has not been recovered, but given the intensity of the blaze, authorities fear the worst." Elena looked directly at the camera, her performance flawless. "If by some miracle Clara survived, I just want her to know that we love her. We forgive her. Please, honey, if you're out there, come home. We'll get you the help you need." Clara felt like she was going to be sick. "She's lying. She's lying. She started that fire. She locked me in there." "I know," Marcus said calmly. "My father tried to save me, and she let him die." "I know. And now everyone thinks I'm a murderer." Clara's voice broke. "Everyone thinks I killed my own father." Marcus turned off the video and looked at her seriously. "Which is exactly why you can't go back there." "What?" "Clara, think about it. Elena believes you're dead. Right now she thinks she won. She's celebrating. She's not looking over her shoulder." Marcus leaned forward. "That gives us power. That gives us time to expose what she really is." "How? I have nothing. No proof. No, you have me." Marcus's voice was steady. "And you have the truth. But we need to be smart about this. If you go back there now, Elena will have you arrested. She'll have doctors testify that you're mentally unstable. She has 8 years of documentation, Clara. 8 years of building a case against you." Clara's hands were shaking. "So what am I supposed to do? Just hide while she plays the grieving widow? For now?" "Yes." Marcus pulled out his laptop. "We watch her. We document everything. We wait for her to slip up, because she will. Killers always get comfortable. They always make mistakes. And if she doesn't, she will, trust me." Marcus's eyes were intense. "But you need to stay dead, Clara. You need to let Elena think she won. Can you do that?" Clara thought about 8 years of Elena's cruelty. 8 years of her father choosing Elena over her. 8 years of being invisible. Maybe being dead was just another form of invisible. But this time, she'd be watching, she'd be waiting, she'd be planning. "Okay," Clara said quietly, "I'll stay dead for now. But Marcus," she looked at him. "Who are you really? Why are you helping me?" Marcus was quiet for a long moment. "Let's just say I know what it's like when someone powerful tries to destroy you, and I don't like bullies." He stood up. "Now, are you hungry? We should get food. Then we start planning." It wasn't a real answer, but Clara was too exhausted and overwhelmed to push. For now she had an ally. For now she was alive and free. For now that was enough. Over the next few days, Marcus became Clara's lifeline. He brought her food, clothes, everything she needed. He moved them to different motels every few nights, always cautious, always careful, and he showed her things that made her blood boil. News coverage of her father's funeral. Elena and Becky dressed in black, accepting condolences from the entire town of Brookstone, people who'd known Clara her whole life, believing Elena's lies about the troubled girl who'd caused this tragedy. "I should be there," Clara whispered, watching the funeral on Marcus's laptop. "That's my father. The father who let Elena torture you for 8 years?" Marcus's voice was gentle but firm. "I'm sorry, Clara. I know you loved him, but he failed you. Don't risk your life to mourn him publicly." Clara knew he was right, but it still hurt. 1 week after the fire, Marcus showed Clara something that made her sit up straight. "Bank statements," he said, pulling up documents on his laptop. Your mother's joint account with your father. How did you get those? Marcus ignored the question. Look at the transactions from 3 days ago. Clara scanned the screen. Her eyes widened. $50,000, withdrawn from the account. The day after your father's funeral, Marcus said. Want to guess who made the withdrawal? Elena? Bingo. Marcus pulled up more documents. And look what she did with it. An application to Columbia University. In Becky's name. The tuition payment, $50,000. She's sending Becky to Columbia. Clara's mind raced. But why? Becky barely graduated high school. She's not smart enough for... Clara stopped, her stomach dropping. Wait, Columbia University in New York. That's the one. Marcus pulled up more files. Expensive, prestigious, and home to some of the wealthiest students in the country. Clara's throat went dry. She knew exactly why Elena would send Becky there, but she kept her face neutral, her voice carefully casual. So Elena's targeting rich college boys now. That's her plan? Not just any rich college boy. Marcus turned his laptop toward her. Travis Ashford, 25 years old. Son of Richard Ashford, CEO of Ashford Industries. Clara stared at the screen, her heart pounding so loud she was sure Marcus could hear it. There was Travis, older now, in an expensive suit, shaking hands with some business executive. He looked so different from the boy she remembered. Harder, more polished. But it was him. Who is he? Clara asked, proud that her voice didn't shake. The heir to an $8 billion fortune, Marcus said, pulling up more information. Ashford Industries owns commercial real estate, tech companies, manufacturing plants, basically half of New York. Travis is the only child, which means he inherits everything. And Elena knows this, Clara said flatly. She's been researching him for months. Marcus showed her Elena's search history. Dozens of articles about Travis Ashford, his family, their wealth, their social circles. She knows what schools he went to, what clubs he belongs to, where he lives, what classes he's taking at Columbia. Clara felt sick. She's hunting him. Like she hunted your father, Marcus agreed. Except this time the prize is billions instead of thousands. If Becky can trap Travis, marriage, pregnancy, whatever it takes, Elena will never have to work another day in her life. Clara clenched her fists under the table, keeping her expression neutral. So that's why she's spending $50,000 to get Becky into Columbia. She's sending her daughter to seduce this Travis guy. Exactly. Marcus leaned back. And if Becky succeeds, Elena gets access to more money than she could spend in 10 lifetimes. Then we can't let her succeed, Clara said firmly. This Travis person, he doesn't deserve to be destroyed by Elena the way my father was. No one does. Marcus studied her for a moment, and Clara forced herself to meet his gaze without flinching. She wouldn't give anything away. She couldn't. Agreed, Marcus finally said. Which is why we need to document everything, every move Elena and Becky make, every lie they tell, every crime they commit. Do you know anything else about him? Clara asked, trying to sound merely curious. This Travis? What kind of person is he? Marcus pulled up more files. Travis Ashford graduated from Columbia last year with dual degrees in business and architecture. Now he's getting his MBA while also working for his father's company. He represents Ashford Industries at major business meetings, negotiations, acquisitions. Architecture. Clara's chest tightened. He'd actually done it. He'd become an architect. He sounds successful, Clara said carefully. He is. But from what I can tell, he keeps to himself. No social media presence beyond professional accounts. No scandals. No public relationships. Marcus scrolled through more information. He's either very private or very careful. Or both, Clara murmured. Probably both. Growing up with that kind of money, you learn to be cautious about who you let close. Marcus looked at her. Which is going to make Elena's plan harder. Travis isn't some naive trust fund kid. He's smart, cautious, probably suspicious of anyone who shows too much interest. So how will Becky get close to him? That's what we need to figure out. Marcus pulled up Becky's class schedule. She's enrolled in several undergraduate business courses. They don't share any classes. Travis is in the MBA program, but they'll be in the same buildings, same study spaces, same cafeteria. The accidental encounter strategy, Clara said bitterly. Bump into him enough times and eventually he'll notice her. Exactly. Marcus looked impressed. You're getting good at thinking like them. I had 8 years to study how Elena operates, Clara said. She's patient, methodical. She doesn't rush. She builds trust first, then slowly tightens the noose. Which means we need to be just as patient, Marcus said. We watch. We document. We wait for them to make a mistake. Clara nodded, but inside her mind was screaming. She was going to have to watch Becky hunt Travis, watch her stepsister use all of Elena's manipulative tactics on the boy, the man Clara had loved since she was 12 years old. And she couldn't say a word, because Travis had moved on. 8 years was a long time. He'd probably forgotten all about the girl from Brookstone who'd disappeared from his life. And even if he hadn't, Clara was supposed to be dead. She had to stay dead if they were going to take down Elena and Becky. When does Becky start at Columbia? Clara asked. 3 weeks. Elena's moving them to New York next week. 3 weeks. Clara had 3 weeks before Becky would be in the same city as Travis, before the hunt would begin. Tell me more about the Ashford family, Clara said, forcing herself to focus. If we're going to protect Travis from Elena's plan, I need to understand what we're dealing with. Marcus pulled up more files, and Clara listened carefully, pretending she was learning about Travis Ashford for the first time, pretending her heart wasn't breaking with every new detail about the life he'd built without her. Clara spent the next few days watching Marcus work. He had access to things she couldn't explain. Security footage, bank records, private documents. Every time she asked how he got this information, he deflected. You have a lot of skills for a random Good Samaritan, Clara said one evening, as Marcus hacked into Elena's email account. I have a diverse background. That's not an answer. It's the answer you're getting. Marcus didn't look up from his screen. Trust me, Clara. I'm on your side. But whose side were you on before you met me? Clara pushed. Nobody just randomly shows up at a burning house with the skills to break into security systems and bank accounts. Who are you really? Marcus finally looked at her. I'm someone who knows how to survive. Someone who knows how to fight back when powerful people try to destroy you. That's all you need to know. Is someone paying you to help me? Would it matter if they were? Yes. Clara stood up, frustrated. I've spent 8 years not knowing who to trust. Everyone who said they cared about me either abandoned me or betrayed me. I need to know if I can trust you, Marcus. I need to know what you're getting out of this. Marcus was quiet for a long moment. Then he said, I lost someone once. To a person like Elena. Someone who manipulated and lied and destroyed lives without consequences. His voice was hard. I couldn't save that person, but maybe I can save you. Maybe that's enough. It wasn't the whole truth, Clara could tell, but it was more than he'd given her before. Okay, she said softly. Okay. 2 weeks after the fire, Marcus showed Clara footage that made everything click into place. Security camera footage from outside the Dart House. The timestamp showed the night before Becky's Columbia application was submitted. Elena and Becky were in the driveway, talking. The audio was clear. 50,000. Becky's voice. Mom, that's a lot of money. It's an investment, Elena replied. Travis Ashford is worth more than you can imagine. His father owns half of New York. If you can make Travis fall in love with you, marry you, we'll have access to more money than we could ever spend. But what if he doesn't like me? He will. Elena's voice was confident. You're beautiful. You're young. And you'll tell him exactly what he wants to hear. Men are simple, Becky, especially rich men who think they're too smart to be fooled. What about Clara? Becky asked. Won't Travis ask about her? Clara's breath caught. So Becky knew. Becky knew about her and Travis. Clara is dead, Elena said coldly. Tragic victim of her own mental illness. Travis may have cared about her once, but that was a lifetime ago. He's moved on, and when you show up, beautiful, vulnerable, in need of comfort, he won't even remember that pathetic girl from his past. Becky laughed. This is actually kind of genius, Mom. I know. Elena put her arm around Becky. By this time next year, you'll be engaged to Travis Ashford. And by the time you're married, we'll have access to the entire Ashford fortune. No more scraping by. No more pretending. We'll have everything we deserve. What about Simeon's money? Almost gone. The 50,000 to Columbia was the last of it, which is why we need Travis. Elena's smile was sharp. The Dart money got us started. The Ashford money will set us up for life. The video ended. Clara sat frozen, her face carefully blank even as her heart shattered. So Travis had known her, had cared about her. But he'd moved on, of course he had. 8 years was too long to wait for a ghost. You okay? Marcus asked, watching her carefully. Why wouldn't I be? Clara kept her voice steady. I'm just thinking about how to stop them. Did you know Travis Ashford? Marcus asked. From Brookstone, you're around the same age. Small town. I thought maybe—" "No," Clara lied smoothly. "I knew of the Ashford family, everyone did. But Travis and I didn't run in the same circles. His family had money. Mine, well, we were comfortable but not wealthy." She looked at Marcus. "Why do you ask?" "Just checking. Becky mentioned his name to Elena. Thought there might be a connection." "There isn't," Clara said firmly. "But that doesn't mean I want to see him destroyed by Elena's schemes. He's an innocent target. We need to protect him." "Agreed." Marcus seemed to accept her answer. "So we watch. We document. And when the time is right, we expose everything." Clara nodded, relief washing over her that Marcus had let it go. She couldn't talk about Travis. Couldn't admit that the man Elena was targeting was the boy Clara had loved. The boy who'd kissed her by the lake and promised they'd build buildings together someday. That was the past. He'd moved on. And Clara needed to focus on the present, on taking down Elena and Becky before they could destroy anyone else. Clara looked at the frozen image of Elena on the screen, her stepmother's smile sharp and cruel. "She killed my father for his money," Clara said quietly. "She married him, drugged him, isolated me, and killed him, all for money. And now she's going after this Travis person for his billions." "That's what it looks like," Marcus said. "We have to stop her." Clara stood up. "We have to warn him. And say what? That you're alive." Marcus shook his head. "Clara, we still don't have proof that Elena started the fire. We don't have proof she killed your father. All we have is a video of her and Becky talking about going after a rich guy." "That's not illegal, but—" "Listen to me." Marcus's voice was firm. "If you reveal yourself now, Elena will destroy you. She'll have you arrested for your father's death. She'll have you committed. And Becky will still go to Columbia. She'll still go after Travis. And we won't be able to stop any of it because you'll be locked up." Clara felt tears of frustration burning her eyes. "So what do we do?" "We wait," Marcus said. "We watch. We let Becky go to Columbia. We let her think her plan is working, and we document everything, every lie, every manipulation, every crime. And when we have enough evidence that the police can't ignore, we take them down, both of them." "I want her to pay," Clara said quietly. "For my mother, for my father, for 8 years of my life. I want her to lose everything." "She will," Marcus promised. "But we have to be patient. Can you do that?" Clara thought about 8 years of surviving Elena's torture. 8 years of being patient while waiting for rescue that never came. What was a few more months if it meant finally getting justice? "Yes," Clara said, "I can be patient. But Marcus, when the time comes to take her down, I want to be the one who does it." Marcus smiled slightly. "I wouldn't have it any other way. Comment, stop Elena if you want to see justice served." 3 weeks later, Clara sat in front of Marcus's wall of monitors, watching Becky's first day at Columbia University unfold in real time. Marcus had somehow tapped into the campus security cameras, student ID tracking systems, even hacked into several students' phones who happened to be in Becky's vicinity. The level of surveillance was impressive and slightly terrifying. "She's moving," Marcus said, pointing to one screen. Clara watched Becky walk across the Columbia campus, looking nervous and out of place. She was dressed carefully, designer clothes that screamed money but not too much. Expensive bag, perfect makeup, hair styled to look effortlessly beautiful. Elena had trained her well. "Where's Travis?" Clara asked, hating how her voice caught on his name. Marcus pulled up another camera. "Business school building. 3rd floor. He has a meeting with his advisor in 10 minutes. Clara's breath hitched. There he was. Travis Ashford, walking down a hallway with a leather briefcase, wearing a suit that probably cost more than Clara had spent on clothes in her entire life. He moved with confidence, with purpose. He looked nothing like the 17-year-old boy who'd kissed her by the lake. "Becky's heading to the same building," Marcus noted. "Registration office is on the 1st floor. She's picking up her student ID. Convenient," Clara said bitterly. They watched Becky enter the building. She lingered in the lobby, checking her phone, clearly waiting. 5 minutes passed. Then 10. Travis emerged from the elevator. "Here we go," Marcus murmured. Becky timed it perfectly. She walked toward the exit, just as Travis was heading that way, then stumbled, deliberately, Clara could tell, dropping her bag and spilling papers everywhere. "Oh, God, I'm so sorry." Becky's voice came through the audio feed. "I'm such a mess." Travis stopped. For a moment, Clara thought he might just keep walking. But his upbringing wouldn't let him ignore someone in distress. He knelt down to help her pick up the papers. "It's okay," Travis said, his voice sending a painful jolt through Clara's chest. "Are you all right?" "Yes, I'm just first-day jitters, you know." Becky laughed, tucking her hair behind her ear. "I'm completely lost and overwhelmed." Travis handed her the papers. "Welcome to Columbia. It gets easier." "Thank you. You're very kind." Becky smiled up at him. "I'm Becky. Becky Dart." Clara watched Travis's face carefully. "Did the name register?" Did he remember that Clara's last name was Dart? His expression didn't change. "Travis, good luck with your first day." He started to walk away. "Wait!" Becky called after him. "I'm actually completely lost. I have to find the registrar's office, and I have no idea where I'm going. You wouldn't happen to know, would you?" Travis hesitated. Clara could see the internal struggle, the desire to leave versus his ingrained politeness. Politeness won. "It's on the second floor. I'll show you." "That would be amazing." "Thank you so much." They walked toward the stairs together, Becky chattering about how overwhelming everything was, how nervous she felt, how grateful she was to meet someone friendly. The camera lost them as they went upstairs. Clara's hands were clenched so tightly her nails cut into her palms. "First contact," Marcus said, making notes on his laptop. "Accidental meeting. Damsel in distress. Classic Elena playbook. Did you see his face when she said her last name?" Clara asked quietly. "I did. No recognition. Either he doesn't remember your last name or 8 years is long enough to forget," Clara finished. Her throat felt tight. Marcus glanced at her. "You okay?" "Fine." Clara forced herself to relax her hands. "What's next?" "We watch. Document. See how often these accidents happen. Over the next 2 weeks, the accidents happened frequently." Becky was in the library every time Travis studied there. She was in the cafeteria whenever he grabbed lunch. She asked questions in the one lecture they both attended, a general business ethics course open to all students. Marcus documented everything. Timestamps, locations, frequency of encounters. "She's good," Marcus admitted one evening, reviewing the footage. "She's not too eager. She maintains just enough distance to seem respectful while constantly putting herself in his orbit." "Elena trained her well," Clara said bitterly. They watched Travis start to notice Becky. Small things at first, a nod of recognition when he saw her, saving her a seat in the library once when the place was crowded. Brief conversations about assignments. Nothing romantic, nothing inappropriate, just friendly. But Clara knew how these things worked. Friendliness led to trust. Trust led to vulnerability, and vulnerability was what Elena needed to sink her claws in. "New development," Marcus said one evening, pulling up fresh footage. "Elena's coming to New York this weekend." Clara leaned forward. "How do you know?" "Train ticket purchased this morning. She's staying at a hotel near Columbia." Marcus pulled up more information. "She's meeting Becky for dinner Friday night. Can you get audio?" "Working on it." Friday evening, Clara watched Elena and Becky meet at an upscale restaurant near campus. Marcus had managed to hack Becky's phone, turning it into a listening device. "Well?" Elena asked, sipping wine. "Progress report." "It's going well," Becky said. "Travis and I talk almost every day now. He helps me with assignments. We study together sometimes." "That's it? You study together?" Elena's voice was sharp with disappointment. "You've been here 2 weeks, Becky. You should be further along than this. I can't just throw myself at him, Mom. He's not stupid. He'll know something's wrong." "Then be smarter about it." Elena set down her wine glass. "You need to move faster. Do you know how much money we're burning through? That apartment isn't cheap. Your tuition isn't cheap. We're in debt, Becky. Deep debt." "I'm trying." "Try harder." Elena leaned forward. "Create opportunities. Get him alone. Make him see you as more than just a study partner." "How?" "Use your resources. You're young, beautiful, vulnerable." Elena's smile was calculating. "Tell him about your family tragedy. Dead father, dead sister, grieving mother. Men love playing hero to damaged girls." Clara felt sick listening to Elena weaponize her death, her father's death, for Becky's manipulation tactics. "And if that doesn't work," Becky asked, "then you make something happen. Get him drunk. Get him alone. Get him compromised." Elena's voice was cold. "Rich boys like Travis have reputations to protect. One scandal and he'll do anything to contain it. I mean, whatever it takes, Becky. This is our future we're talking about. The Ashford fortune. Billions of dollars." Elena's eyes glittered. "By this time next year, I want to see an engagement ring on your finger. Do you understand?" Becky was quiet for a moment. Then she nodded. I understand. Good. Now tell me, does he ever mention Clara? Clara's breath caught. No, Becky said. Never. It's like she never existed. The words hit Clara like a physical blow. Perfect, Elena said, satisfied. That means he's moved on completely, which means he's available. You just need to close the deal. The conversation turned to logistics, money, bills, Becky's expenses. Clara barely heard it. Her mind was stuck on Becky's words. It's like she never existed. 8 years, and Travis never mentioned her. Not once. Clara, Marcus's voice broke through her thoughts. You're bleeding. She looked down. Her nails had cut deep enough into her palms to draw blood. She unclenched her fists, watching the blood well up. I'm fine, she said automatically. You're not. Marcus handed her tissues. Talk to me. There's nothing to talk about. Clara wiped the blood away. We knew this already. Travis moved on. It's been 8 years. That's normal. That's what people do. Is it? Marcus asked quietly. Yes. Clara's voice was firm. And it doesn't matter anyway. What matters is stopping Elena and Becky before they destroy him the way they destroyed my father. Marcus studied her for a long moment, then nodded. Okay. Then let's keep watching. The next week, Becky made her move. It was a Thursday evening. Travis was in the library, working on a project. Becky happened to be there, struggling with an assignment at a nearby table. Clara watched Becky glance at Travis several times, working up courage. Finally, she approached him. Travis, I'm so sorry to bother you, but I'm completely stuck on this assignment, and I don't know anyone else to ask. Would you mind looking at it, just for a second? Travis looked up from his work. What class? Business strategy. Professor Morrison. I had him last year. Sure, let me see. Becky sat down next to Travis, closer than necessary. She leaned in as he explained the assignment, her shoulder touching his, her perfume probably overwhelming. Travis didn't pull away, but Clara could see the slight tension in his shoulders. He was uncomfortable. Does that make sense? Travis asked, finishing his explanation. Yes. Oh my God, you're a lifesaver. Thank you so much. Becky smiled at him. Can I buy you coffee, as a thank you? You don't have to. Please, I insist. You've been so nice to me since I started here. It's the least I can do. Travis hesitated. Clara held her breath. Sure, he finally said. Coffee sounds good. They packed up their things and headed to the campus coffee shop. Marcus switched cameras, following them. At the coffee shop, Becky bought 2 expensive lattes and they sat at a corner table. The conversation started casually. Classes, professors, campus life. Then Becky's face fell. I'm sorry, she said, wiping at her eyes. I'm being weird. It's just... Today's been hard. What's wrong? Travis asked, concern in his voice. It's the anniversary of the fire. Becky's tears looked real. 2 months ago today, my father died and my sister... She didn't make it either. I thought I could handle being here, starting fresh. But today just... She broke down, full crying, shoulders shaking. The works. Clara watched, disgusted. Becky had always been good at fake tears. Travis clearly didn't know what to do. He awkwardly patted Becky's shoulder. I'm so sorry. I can't imagine what you're going through. My sister Clara, she was sick, mentally ill. She'd been struggling for years, and that night she just snapped. Becky looked up at Travis with tear-filled eyes. She started the fire. My dad tried to save her, but he couldn't. And now they're both gone, and I'm here trying to pretend everything's okay when it's not. You don't have to pretend, Travis said gently. Grief isn't something you just get over. It takes time. You're very understanding. Becky wiped her eyes. Most people don't know what to say. They just avoid me. I'm not most people. Becky smiled through her tears. I'm starting to see that. They talked for another hour. Becky told carefully crafted stories about her tragic family life, about missing her father, about struggling to cope. Travis listened, offered sympathy, shared some surface-level stories about his own family pressures. By the time they left, Travis had given Becky his phone number. If you need to talk, he said. Sometimes it helps to talk to someone who's not family. Thank you, Becky said, touching his arm. That means more than you know. They parted ways. Travis headed toward his apartment. Becky waited until he was out of sight, then pulled out her phone. Marcus had the call audio within seconds. Mom? It worked. I got his number. Yes, I did the crying thing. He totally bought it. I know. I'll keep pushing. Love you too. Becky hung up and smiled, a cold, calculating smile that looked exactly like Elena's. Clara felt nauseous. She's moving faster now, Marcus said. Phone number means text access. More opportunities for contact. He believed every word, Clara whispered. He has no idea she's lying. Why would he? She's good at this. Marcus looked at Clara. But we're documenting everything, every lie, every manipulation. When the time comes, we'll have proof. Will it matter? Clara asked. If Travis is already falling for her act, he's not falling for anything yet, Marcus said firmly. He was being polite, sympathetic. That's not the same as being interested. Clara wanted to believe him. But she'd seen the look on Travis's face, the concern, the desire to help. That's how it started. That's how Elena had gotten to her father. First sympathy, then trust, then love, then control, and by the time you realized what was happening, it was too late. Over the next week, Becky began her campaign. It started innocently enough. A simple text, "Thanks again for helping me with that assignment." "You really saved me," Travis replied. "No problem. Good luck with the class." Then another text the next day just turned in that paper. "Feeling more confident thanks to you." Travis replied, "Glad I could help." Marcus had installed monitoring software on Clara's laptop that mirrored Becky's phone activity, one of the benefits of Becky using the family phone plan Elena had set up. Every text Becky sent appeared on Clara's screen in real time. Clara watched from her small apartment, heart sinking with each exchange. Day 3. Rough day. Professor Morrison tore apart my presentation in front of. Everyone. Feel like an idiot. Travis, don't let him get to you. He's harsh on everyone. You'll bounce back. You always know what to say. Thank you for being so kind to me. Day 5. Random question. What's your favorite coffee order? Want to get it right if I ever owe you another thank you coffee. Travis, black coffee, 2 sugars. But seriously, you don't owe me anything. Becky, too late. Debt has been noted, LOL. Clara could see the pattern. Becky was establishing herself as someone who needed Travis. Someone vulnerable he could help. Someone grateful for his attention. She's doing exactly what Elena did to my father, Clara said, pacing her tiny apartment. Building dependence, making him feel needed. Marcus sat at the kitchen table taking notes. The frequency is increasing. She's texting him every day now, and he's responding, politely. There's a difference. Marcus looked up. He's not initiating contact. He's just being decent to someone he thinks lost her whole family. For now, Clara said bitterly, but that's how it starts. The following Monday, Travis was at the gym, his usual 6 a.m. routine before classes. He'd been going to the same campus gym for 3 years. Becky happened to be there. She was on the treadmill when he arrived, wearing expensive athletic wear that looked brand new. When she saw him, her face lit up with surprised delight. Travis, oh my God, I didn't know you came here. Every morning, Travis said, setting his bag down. You just join. Yeah, my therapist said exercise might help with the grief. Thought I'd try it out. Becky smiled. This is so much better than working out alone. Do you mind if I follow your routine? I have no idea what I'm doing. Travis hesitated for just a moment. Clara could see it on the surveillance footage Marcus pulled from the gym's security cameras. Then his natural kindness won out. Sure, I usually do 30 minutes cardio, then weights. They worked out together. Becky made sure to struggle with the weights, asking Travis for help, for form corrections, for encouragement. She laughed at his jokes, complimented his dedication, mentioned how nice it was to have a friend who understood what she was going through. By the end of the workout, they'd made plans to meet at the gym again the next morning. This is bad, Clara said, watching the footage. She's inserting herself into his daily routine. It's textbook, Marcus agreed. Create manufactured proximity. Make yourself a regular presence in his life. We have to do something. Not yet, Marcus's voice was firm. If you expose yourself now, Becky will play victim. Travis will side with her. We need more evidence of the manipulation before we make our move. What if we wait too long? What if... We won't. Marcus turned to Clara, his dark eyes intense. Trust me, I've been planning this for 10 years. I'm not going to let them win now. Clara wanted to believe him, but watching Becky work her magic on Travis felt like watching a car crash in slow motion, inevitable and terrible. 2 weeks after their first coffee meeting, Becky made her next move. She invited Travis to a group outing. Some people from my program are going to this new restaurant downtown Friday night. You should come. It'll be fun. Travis checked his phone calendar. I actually have plans Friday. Oh. Becky's face fell with perfect disappointment. Okay, no worries. I just thought... Never mind. What? It's stupid. You're literally the only person I feel comfortable around here. Everyone else treats me like I'm broken, or they avoid me completely because they don't know what to say about my family. But you just treat me like a person." She smiled sadly. "But I get it. You have a life. I shouldn't monopolize your time." Travis looked conflicted. Clara knew that look. He was feeling guilty. "What time Friday?" he asked. Becky's face lit up. 7. At Mercato on Fifth Avenue. Oh my God, thank you. You're the best." Friday arrived. Travis showed up at Mercato at 7 sharp. There was no group. Just Becky, sitting alone at a table for two, looking beautiful in a designer dress. "Where is everyone?" Travis asked, confused. Becky's eyes widened with surprise. "Oh no. Didn't you get my text? Everyone bailed last minute. I texted you to let you know we could reschedule. I didn't get any text. What? I sent it hours ago." Becky pulled out her phone, made a show of checking. "Oh my God, it didn't send. My phone has been acting weird all day. Travis, I'm so sorry. You didn't have to come. I know you had other plans." Travis could have left, should have left. But he looked at Becky sitting there alone, embarrassed, and his natural kindness kicked in. "It's fine. I'm already here. We might as well eat." Becky's smile was grateful. "Really? Are you sure? I feel terrible. It's okay. Come on, let's order." They sat down. It was accidentally on purpose. A date. Clara watched the surveillance footage later. She watched Becky order wine, watched her laugh at Travis's stories, watched her lean in when she talked, touch his hand when she made a point, gaze at him with adoring eyes. She watched Travis slowly relax, start to enjoy himself, smile more freely, and her heart broke a little more. "She's good," Marcus said quietly. "I'll give her that." "She learned from the best," Clara said, her voice hollow. "Elena taught her everything." At the end of dinner, Travis walked Becky back to campus. At her dorm, she turned to him with a shy smile. "Thank you for tonight, for not making me eat alone, for being so understanding about everything. Of course, I'm glad I could be there." "Travis?" Becky stepped closer. "Can I tell you something?" "Sure. You're the first person since the fire who's made me feel normal. Like I'm not just the girl whose family died. You treat me like I'm just Becky. That means everything to me." She hugged him. "Not too long, not inappropriate. Just long enough to feel intimate. Personal." When she pulled back, Travis looked slightly uncomfortable but not upset. "Good night, Becky." "Good night." She went inside. Travis walked away, hands in his pockets, looking thoughtful. Clara watched the footage 3 times, looking for something, anything, that suggested Travis was seeing through Becky's act. She found nothing. 3 weeks after the accidental dinner date, everything changed. Clara noticed it first in the small things. The way Travis started smiling when his phone buzzed with Becky's texts. The way he'd check his appearance in car windows before meeting her. The way his body language shifted when she was near, leaning in instead of maintaining distance. Marcus showed her the surveillance footage without comment. He'd learned not to discuss Travis and Clara's past. She never spoke about it, never explained why watching the footage made her hands shake, why she sometimes had to leave the room mid-video. But he knew. Of course he knew. "They're going to the campus art exhibit tomorrow," Marcus said, showing her the text exchange. Becky suggested it. Travis agreed immediately. Clara nodded, her face expressionless. Noted. She'd gotten good at this, watching Travis fall for Becky's lies while showing nothing. No emotion, no pain. Just professional observation of a target. At least, that's what she told herself. The art exhibit was on a Saturday afternoon. Travis picked Becky up in his Mercedes, the same car he'd once dreamed of teaching Clara to drive. Becky looked stunning in a designer dress that probably cost more than Clara's entire month's rent. She complimented Travis's outfit, touched his arm, laughed at his jokes with perfect timing. At the exhibit, they walked close together. Too close to be just friends. When Becky pretended not to understand a modern art piece, Travis explained it with enthusiasm, clearly pleased to share his knowledge. When she shivered in the air-conditioned gallery, he offered his jacket without hesitation. Marcus had positioned micro-cameras throughout the gallery. Clara watched from her laptop, coffee going cold in her hands. "This piece is actually about isolation," Travis was saying, pointing to an abstract painting. "See how the colors fragment. The artist painted it after losing someone close." "That's beautiful," Becky said softly. "And sad. Do you think they ever stop missing them?" I don't know. I think some people stay with you forever, even when they're gone. Becky looked up at him. Have you ever lost someone like that? Travis was quiet for a moment. Once. A long time ago. What happened? She left, or I thought she did. Pushed me away when I tried to help. Travis shook his head. I probably should have fought harder to stay. But I was 18 and didn't know how. Clara's hand flew to her mouth. He was talking about her. After all these years, he still thought about her. I'm sorry, Becky said, her voice gentle. Poisonously gentle. That must have hurt. It did. For a long time. Travis smiled, but it didn't reach his eyes. But life moves on, right? You can't live in the past. No, Becky agreed, stepping closer. You have to be open to new beginnings. They stood there, inches apart, surrounded by art about love and loss and human connection. Travis looked at Becky, really looked at her, and Clara saw the exact moment something shifted in his expression. Interest, possibility, the beginning of something. Want to get dinner after this? Travis asked. Becky's smile was radiant. I'd love that, Clara closed the laptop. She sat in her tiny apartment, so different from the mansion she'd grown up in, and felt her carefully constructed walls crumble. For weeks, she'd told herself she was just gathering evidence, just doing reconnaissance. Travis was a stranger now. 10 years had passed. People changed. She'd changed, but watching him look at Becky the way he'd once looked at her, Clara pressed her hands to her face and let out a breath that was almost a sob. Almost. But she wouldn't cry, couldn't cry, because crying meant admitting how much it hurt, admitting that she'd never stopped loving him, admitting that every day of the past 10 years she'd survived on the hope that someday, somehow, she'd find her way back to him. And now he was falling in love with her stepsister. Her phone buzzed. Marcus getting dinner at Lombardi's. Want me to pull surveillance? Clara typed back with shaking hands. Yes. Send everything. She had a job to do. Evidence to gather. A case to build against Elena and Becky. Her broken heart was irrelevant. Over the next month, Travis and Becky became inseparable. He picked her up every morning for their gym sessions, drove her to classes in his Mercedes, studied with her in the library, took her to expensive restaurants Clara could never afford. They were photographed by a student blogger and featured in a campus gossip Instagram account. Travis Ashford and Mystery Girl Alert. Who is she? The comments poured in. OMG, they're so cute together. He's been single forever, good for him. She's gorgeous, where did she come from? I heard her whole family died, he's helping her cope. Becky's carefully crafted tragic backstory made her sympathetic. Likeable. The girl who'd lost everything and found hope again with a kind, wealthy man. It was a fairy tale. A complete lie. But no one knew that except Clara, Marcus, and the two women orchestrating it all. 3,000 miles away in Eleganza, Elena sat in the Dart mansion, now legally hers after Simeon's death, drinking expensive wine and watching social media updates of her daughter with Travis Ashford. Mum, look at this one. Becky's voice came through the phone on speaker. We're trending on campus. Hashtag Travis and Becky is actually a hashtag now. Excellent work, darling. Elena's smile was cold and satisfied. How close are you to meeting the father? Travis mentioned family dinner next month. He wants me to meet Richard Ashford officially. Perfect. Once you're in with the family, the engagement won't be far behind. Remember, I know, Mom. Pregnancy announcement within 6 months of engagement. Lock him in before he figures anything out. Becky laughed. Not that he will. He's completely hooked. Don't get overconfident, Elena warned. Men can be unpredictable when they feel manipulated. You need to make him think everything is his idea. I am. Trust me, he's falling in love with me all on his own. Or he thinks he is. Becky's voice turned cruel. Honestly, it's pathetic how easy this was. Clara made him sound like some great lost love, but he got over her pretty fast. Elena's laugh was sharp. Clara always was delusional, thinking that boy would wait for her forever, thinking anyone would want her broken, crazy self. Do you think she's even still alive? Becky asked. Sometimes I wonder if she actually made it out of that house. We never found a body. If she survived, she's long gone, Elena said dismissively. Probably dead in a ditch somewhere, or locked up in some psychiatric ward ranting about her evil stepmother. Either way, she's not our problem anymore, Becky agreed. We won. The house is yours, the inheritance is ours, And now I'm about to lock down the Ashford fortune. Speaking of which, Elena's voice turned businesslike. The pregnancy. How are we handling this? I've already researched it, Mom. I'll tell him I'm pregnant next week. We'll have a few months of pregnancy symptoms where I'll be emotional and needy. That'll bind him closer. Then, around month 4, I'll have a tragic miscarriage. Perfect. By then, he'll be so emotionally invested that he'll propose to comfort you. Men are predictable that way. Elena's laugh was cold. Once you're married, you can get actually pregnant if you want, or not. Either way, the Ashford money will be legally yours. God, I love how your mind works, Becky said. Clara really thought she was smart, but she never stood a chance against us. No one does, darling. No one does. They concluded that Clara was either dead or so broken she'd never resurface. Either way, she was no longer a threat. 1 week later, Becky called Travis, voice shaking with manufactured emotion. Can you come over? I need to tell you something important. Travis arrived within 15 minutes. Becky sat him down, took his hands, and showed him 3 positive pregnancy tests, the kind she'd ordered online that always showed positive regardless of actual pregnancy. I'm pregnant, she whispered. From that night at the party. Travis went completely still, processing. Then, are you sure? 3 tests. All positive. She let tears fall. I know this changes everything. I know we haven't been together that long. But I wanted you to know. Travis took a deep breath. Becky, if you're pregnant with my child, we're in this together. I'm not going anywhere. Really? Her relief seemed genuine. You're not angry? Shocked? Yes, but we'll figure this out. He pulled her close. We'll be okay. Within hours, Becky posted the announcement on social media. Life has a way of surprising you when you least expect it. Travis and I are thrilled to announce we're expecting. Baby Ashford #blessed. The post went viral. Columbia University buzzed. The Brookstone Society pages picked it up within days. Ashford heir expecting first child with girlfriend Rebecca Morrison. It was everywhere. Clara was scrolling through job listings in Miami, cities far from New York, far from Brookstone, far from everything, when her phone buzzed with a news alert. She almost didn't look. Then she saw the headline. Travis Ashford and girlfriend expecting first child. The photo showed them smiling, his hand on her stomach. Clara's phone slipped from her hands and clattered to the floor. For a long moment she just sat there, numb, empty. Then she stood up mechanically and began packing. Marcus let himself into her apartment an hour later to find boxes everywhere and Clara shoving clothes into a suitcase. What are you doing? He asked, though he clearly already knew. Leaving, like I should have done months ago. Clara, don't. Her voice was flat, emotionless. I'm done, Marcus. I'm done watching. I'm done gathering evidence that doesn't matter. I'm done hoping for something that's never going to happen. This isn't over. Yes, it is. He's having a baby with her. A baby, Marcus. Even if we exposed Elena and Becky tomorrow, even if Travis learned every lie they've told, he has a child with her now. He's tied to her forever. You don't know the full situation. I know enough. Clara zipped the suitcase. I have a bus ticket to Miami. I leave tomorrow morning. I'm going to find a job, rent an apartment, and build a life that doesn't revolve around Travis Ashford or the family that destroyed mine. Marcus watched her pack in silence for a moment. Is that really what you want? To run? I want to survive, and I can't survive here, watching him build a life with her while I hide in the shadows gathering evidence for a case that doesn't matter anymore. It matters. To who? Clara spun to face him, and Marcus saw the exhaustion in her eyes. To me? I've lost everything already. To Travis? He's moved on and started a family. To Elena and Becky, they've won. They have the money, the status, the life they wanted. What's the point, Marcus? The point is justice. Justice doesn't bring my mother back. Justice doesn't give me the last 10 years of my life back. Justice doesn't make Travis love me instead of her. Clara's voice cracked. I'm tired, Marcus. I'm so tired of fighting a battle I've already lost. Marcus was quiet for a long moment. Then give me 1 week. What? 1 week. Don't leave for Miami yet. Stay 1 more week. Why? Because... Marcus hesitated, choosing his words carefully. Because I need to show you something, prove something to you. But I need a few more days to put it together. Marcus, 1 week, Clara, that's all I'm asking. If after 1 week you still want to go to Miami, I'll drive you to the bus station myself. Clara studied his face. Marcus had never lied to her, never given her false hope, never promised anything he couldn't deliver. 1 week, she said finally. But Marcus, nothing is going to change. Travis is having a baby with Becky. That's not something evidence or exposure can fix. I know, Marcus said quietly. Just trust me one more time. The next 7 days were torture. Clara saw the photos online. Travis and Becky at prenatal appointments. Becky with her hand on her still flat stomach. Travis looking at her with gentle care. The announcement that they'd be returning to Brookstone for the Ashford Foundation annual charity gala. Becky would be formally introduced to Brookstone Society as Travis's girlfriend and the mother of his future child. Clara watched it all from her nearly empty apartment and felt nothing. She'd cried so much over the past month that she had no tears left, just hollow acceptance. On Friday evening, the night before her bus was scheduled to leave for Miami, Marcus knocked on her door. "Get dressed," he said. "Why? I'm taking you to dinner. A nice one. You've been eating ramen for months. Let me buy you a real meal before you leave." Clara looked at him suspiciously. "Marcus, just dinner, I promise. No tricks, no schemes. Just a thank you for trusting me these past months, even though things didn't work out the way we hoped." It sounded genuine, and Clara was too tired to argue. "Fine, give me 20 minutes. She showered and changed into the only decent dress she still owned. A simple dark blue dress she'd bought from a thrift store months ago. It wasn't fancy, but it was clean and presentable. When she emerged, Marcus was waiting with his car keys. "Where are we going?" Clara asked as they drove through darkening streets. "A place I think you'll like. Good food, quiet atmosphere." Clara watched the scenery pass, half paying attention. Then she noticed something odd. "Marcus, this isn't the way to any restaurants. This is the highway toward—" She saw the sign. "Where are we going?" Clara asked as they drove through darkening streets. "A place I think you'll like. Good food, quiet atmosphere." Clara watched the scenery pass, half paying attention. Then she noticed something odd. "Marcus, this isn't the way to any restaurants. This is the highway toward—" She saw the sign. "Brookstone. 15 miles." Clara's stomach dropped. "Marcus, where are we going? Trust me. Marcus!" Her voice rose with panic. "Why are we going to Brookstone?" "Because you need to be there." "No, turn the car around. I'm not going back there. Travis is there with Becky introducing her to everyone. Elena is there celebrating. I can't—" "Clara, breathe. Don't tell me to breathe. You lied to me. You said dinner." "I said I was taking you somewhere," Marcus said calmly, still driving. "I never specified where. Take me back to New York right now." "No, Marcus." Clara was close to tears now, the first real emotion she'd felt in days. "Please, please don't make me do this. I can't watch him with her. I can't see Elena's face. I can't—" "You won't have to see any of that," Marcus said quietly. "I promise." "Then why are we going to Brookstone?" "Because there's something you need to see. Something I can't explain. I can only show you." "What? What could possibly—" "Trust me, Clara, please. One last time, trust me." Clara stared at his profile. Marcus's face was calm, determined. Whatever he had planned, he genuinely believed it was important. If this is about exposing Elena and Becky, it's not. Not directly. "Then what? You'll see." Marcus glanced at her. "I know you've given up. I know you think Travis has moved on. I know you think the pregnancy changes everything. But Clara, I need you to see something tonight. And then, if you still want to go to Miami tomorrow, I'll help you pack and drive you to the bus myself." They drove in silence for the rest of the trip. It was dark when they arrived in Brookstone. Marcus drove through familiar streets that made Clara's chest ache with memories. Then she saw it, the Ashford estate, blazing with light, cars lining the driveway, people in evening gowns and tuxedos walking toward the entrance. "Marcus," Clara's voice was barely a whisper, "this is the gala, the charity gala. Travis is in there with Becky introducing her to his family." "I know. Then why would you bring me here?" Clara's voice broke. "This is cruel, Marcus. I need you to come inside with me. Absolutely not." Clara reached for the door handle. "Let me out. I'll walk back to the highway if I have to." Marcus hit the door locks. "Clara, listen to me. Unlock the doors. Not until you listen. Marcus turned to face her fully. I have never lied to you about anything important. I've kept secrets, yes, but I've never deliberately hurt you. Do you believe that? Clara was crying now, silent tears streaming down her face. Yes, then believe me when I say that you need to be here tonight. Not to watch Travis with Becky, not to see Elena gloat, but because something is going to happen that you need to witness. What? What's going to happen? I can't tell you. If I tell you, you won't believe me. You'll think I'm giving you false hope. You have to see it yourself. Marcus, please, will you trust me? One more time. Will you walk into that gala with me and see what I need you to see? Clara looked at the mansion. Through the windows she could see people laughing, champagne glasses catching light, wealth and celebration on full display. Somewhere in there, Travis was probably standing next to Becky, his hand protective on her stomach, introducing her as the mother of his child. I don't want to see him with her, Clara whispered. You won't have to. Not the way you think. Marcus reached over and gently took her hand. Please, Clara, trust me. Clara closed her eyes. She was so tired of fighting, so tired of hoping, so tired of everything. But Marcus had never steered her wrong. Even when things were hard, even when the evidence gathering was painful, he'd been honest with her. Okay, she said finally, voice small. But if this is you trying to force me to confront them or make some dramatic scene, it's not, I promise. Marcus unlocked the doors and got out, then came around to open her door. Come on, let's go. We can't just walk in through the front, Clara said as they approached the entrance. Everyone will see me. We're not going through the front. Marcus guided her around the side of the mansion to a service entrance. This way. How do you know about this entrance? Marcus didn't answer. Just led her through servant corridors Clara vaguely remembered from childhood visits. They emerged in a small alcove that overlooked the main ballroom. From here, Clara could see everything without being easily seen. The ballroom was magnificent. Crystal chandeliers, an orchestra, hundreds of guests in designer gowns and perfect tuxedos. Clara's eyes immediately found Travis. He stood near the center of the room, impossibly handsome in a tuxedo, Becky on his arm in a pale pink gown that made her look like a princess. They were surrounded by people offering congratulations, touching Becky's stomach, celebrating the pregnancy. Clara felt like someone had reached into her chest and crushed her heart. Marcus, I can't watch this. Shh. Marcus put a gentle hand on her shoulder. Just wait, watch, trust me. For what? To watch him celebrate starting a family with her? To see Elena somewhere in that crowd looking smug? What am I supposed to... Clara. Marcus turned her to face him. Do you trust me? Tears streamed down Clara's face. Yes. Then stay. Watch. And whatever happens next, just... let it happen. Before Clara could respond, she heard someone taking the microphone at the front of the ballroom. Richard Ashford, Travis's father. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you all for being here tonight. The speech began. Clara wanted to leave, wanted to run, wanted to be anywhere but here watching this. But Marcus's hand on her shoulder kept her rooted in place. Just watch, he whispered. So Clara watched, and waited for her heart to break completely. Richard Ashford finished his portion of the speech, thanking donors and highlighting the Foundation's work. Then, and now, I'd like to invite my son Travis to say a few words. Clara's grip on the alcove railing tightened. Travis took the microphone. Even from this distance, she could see the slight tension in his shoulders. Something was different about him tonight. Not the easy charm he usually wore, but something deeper, more serious. Thank you all for being here, Travis began. This foundation has always been about family, about protecting the people who matter, about standing up for those who can't stand up for themselves. He paused, his voice warming. Tonight is special for me because I get to publicly acknowledge someone extraordinary, someone who changed my life, someone who taught me what real strength looks like. Becky's face lit up. She straightened, preparing to be called forward. Clara felt tears burning. She couldn't watch this. This person, Travis continued, his voice full of emotion, has been through hell, survived things that would break most people, and despite everything, despite the pain, the loss, the years of suffering, she never gave up. Becky was practically glowing now, squeezing Travis's arm. Clara turned away. "Marcus, I'm leaving." "Wait," Marcus said firmly. "She's the strongest person I've ever known," Travis said. "The bravest, the most resilient. And tonight I want the world to see her, to know her, to recognize her for who she truly is." The audience was rapt, waiting. "So please," Travis said, his voice clear and strong, "help me welcome the woman who means everything to me. The woman I've been searching for. The woman I never stopped loving." Becky stepped forward, ready for her moment. "My one and only," Travis said. "The woman who has my whole heart." Becky's smile was radiant. "Ladies and gentlemen, please give a round of applause for—" Becky prepared to wave to the crowd. "Miss Clara Dart." The name hung in the air like a bomb. Clara Dart. Becky's smile froze mid-wave. Her hand stopped in the air, fingers still curved in preparation for acknowledging applause that never came. The ballroom erupted in gasps and confused whispers that built like a wave. "Clara Dart? Simeon's daughter? But she died in the fire. I attended her memorial service. Is this some kind of sick joke?" Marcus's hand pressed gently but firmly against Clara's back, pushing her forward from the shadows of the alcove into the light. Every head in the ballroom turned as one. Every eye found her standing there on the balcony overlook, alive, real, impossible. The whispers grew louder, shocked, disbelieving, excited. Clara's legs felt like water. Her hands gripped the marble railing so tightly her knuckles went white. She couldn't move, couldn't breathe, couldn't process what was happening. Below, Becky's face drained of all color. Her mouth opened and closed like a fish drowning in air. The designer dress that had made her look like a princess now seemed to hang awkwardly on her trembling frame. Across the ballroom, Elena's champagne glass slipped from her fingers. It hit the marble floor with a crystal-clear crash that somehow cut through all the other noise. Champagne and shattered glass spread across the pristine white marble like blood at a crime scene. Elena's face, always so perfectly composed, always so controlled, twisted into something Clara had never seen before. Raw, undisguised panic. And Travis stood at the front of the room, microphone still in hand, looking up at Clara with an expression of pure, unguarded emotion. His eyes were bright, his jaw was tight. His whole body seemed to vibrate with intensity. He raised his glass slightly in her direction, a small gesture, almost invisible, but Clara saw it. The ballroom descended into absolute chaos. People were standing now, pointing, pulling out phones, demanding explanations. Travis set down his microphone and looked directly at Clara, his voice carrying across the now silent ballroom. "Clara," he said, and his voice was rough with emotion. "I need to tell you something. Something I should have told you months ago." Clara's hands gripped the balcony railing tighter. Her voice came out barely above a whisper, but in the silent ballroom it carried. "What are you talking about?" Travis took a breath, his eyes never leaving hers. "The fire. The night you almost died." He paused, and Clara saw his throat work as he swallowed. "I set it. I planned it. Marcus and I. We staged your death to save your life." The ballroom exploded in shocked gasps. Clara went rigid, her entire body frozen. Becky stumbled backward, her face going even paler. "What? No, that's impossible. Let me explain," Travis said, his voice steady now, controlled. He wasn't looking at the crowd anymore. He was looking only at Clara. 8 years ago, you disappeared from my life. Completely. One day we were planning our future together, and the next, nothing. Just cold, distant texts that didn't sound like you. Then nothing at all. Clara felt tears burning in her eyes. She remembered those texts. Remembered Elena typing them while Clara watched helplessly. "I tried everything to reach you," Travis continued. "I came back to Brookstone. Your father wouldn't let me see you. Said you'd moved on. Said you wanted nothing to do with me. But I knew something was wrong. The girl I loved wouldn't just disappear without a word." He paused, his jaw clenching. 2 years after you vanished, I reconnected with an old friend, Marcus Chen. We'd gone to school together before his family moved away. He'd become a private investigator. I asked him to help me find out what happened to you." Marcus stepped forward slightly, standing beside Clara on the balcony, but he remained silent. This was Travis's story to tell. "Marcus discovered you were being held prisoner in your own home," Travis said, his voice hardening. "Abused, isolated, treated like a slave. Your father was being drugged. We tracked the medications Elena was buying, documented everything, and then we discovered Elena was planning something worse. He pulled out his phone, and suddenly the massive screens around the ballroom flickered to life. Clara realized Travis had been controlling them all along. The screens showed search history from Elena's computer. How to start untraceable house fire accelerants that leave no residue, how to ensure no survivors in attic fire, how long for body to burn beyond recognition. The crowd gasped. Someone cried out in shock. Elena's voice cut through the chaos, shrill and desperate. "That's fake! That's doctored evidence! It's not!" Travis said coldly, finally looking at Elena. "Marcus installed monitoring software on your computer 6 months before the fire. We have timestamps. We have everything." He turned back to Clara, his voice softening. "We knew she was planning to kill you. We knew we couldn't go to the police. Elena had spent 8 years building a case that you were mentally unstable. She had an entire town convinced you were dangerous. If we'd tried to rescue you openly, she would have had you committed to a psychiatric facility within hours." Clara's vision blurred with tears. "So you set the fire first?" "We saved you first," Travis corrected gently. "Marcus and I planned every detail. We needed Elena to believe you died in that fire. Needed her to think she'd won. Only then would she get comfortable enough to make mistakes we could use against her." Clara's tears flowed freely. You've known where I was this whole time?" Travis nodded. "Every single day. Every motel Marcus moved you to. Every moment you thought you were alone. I was watching the footage, making sure you were safe. Funding everything through Marcus so you wouldn't know." Marcus added, "Every piece of evidence you thought I was discovering. Travis was feeding me most of it. Security footage from inside the Dart House. Financial records. Security footage from the high school and also Elena's communications, including the times and moments Becky and Travis spent together. Travis had been collecting it all for years. I set a small, controlled fire in the east wing of the house," Marcus said quietly. "Enough smoke to trigger the alarms and force an evacuation. I was already inside, hidden, waiting. My only job was to get Clara out safely while everyone else thought she died. But my father," Clara's voice broke, "my father died that night." Travis's expression filled with pain. "I know. God, Clara, I'm so sorry. We didn't plan that. We thought everyone would evacuate safely. But Simeon," his voice caught, "your father ran back inside to save you. Maybe the adrenaline burned through the drugs in his system. Maybe in that moment he remembered who he used to be. Who you used to be to him. He tried to save you." Clara pressed her hand to her mouth, tears streaming down her face. "Elena let him go," Travis continued, his voice hard now. "She could have stopped him. She could have told him Clara was already out, but she let him run into that burning house, let him die. Because dead, he couldn't divorce her. Dead, she inherited everything." The screens changed, showing new footage. Security camera footage from outside the Dart House the night of the fire. The crowd watched Elena standing on the lawn, calm and composed, while Simeon ran toward the burning house. Becky stood beside her mother, filming on her phone. Simeon disappeared into the smoke. Elena smiled. The ballroom erupted in shocked outrage. "You murderer!" someone shouted. "She let him die. Call the police." Travis held up his hand for silence. "The police are already here. They've been here the whole time, waiting for this moment." He gestured, and several people in the crowd stood, plainclothes officers who'd been positioned throughout the room. "But there's more," Travis said, his voice cold as ice now. "Much more. And Clara deserves to know all of it. You all deserve to know what Elena Morrison really is." He pulled up new footage on the screens. Hospital parking garage. Date stamp. 2 days before Sophie Dart's fatal accident. Clara's breath caught. That was her mother's hospital. The footage showed 2 figures beside a car. Clara recognized her mother immediately. Sophie Dart, looking tired but determined. And the other figure was Elena. The audio crackled to life. Sophie's voice. "I know what you are, Elena. I know you're poisoning my husband. I have proof, medical records showing the drugs in his system. I'm going to the police tomorrow." Clara's hand flew to her mouth. Elena's voice, cold as death. You won't make it to tomorrow, Sophie, backing away. Are you threatening me? Elena, I'm not threatening you. I'm making you a promise. You think I spent 2 years working my way into this family just to let you ruin it. Simeon is mine. This house is mine. That fortune is mine. And you're just in my way. The footage showed Elena pulling tools from her bag. A wrench, a jack. Sophie frightened now. What are you doing? Elena kneeling beside Sophie's car, making sure tomorrow never comes for you. The camera angle showed Elena working underneath Sophie's vehicle, her movements quick and practiced. When she stood up, she was holding something, a brake line, cut clean through. Sophie tried to run. Elena grabbed her, and there was a brief, violent struggle. Then Elena shoved Sophie hard against the car and walked away, leaving Sophie standing alone, shaking, in that dark parking garage. The footage ended. The ballroom was deathly silent. Travis's voice cut through the quiet like a knife. Sophie Dart was murdered. Her brake lines were cut in that parking garage. The accident the next day wasn't an accident at all. It was premeditated, calculated murder. Elena's scream shattered the silence. Lies, all lies. That footage is fake. It's been manipulated. It hasn't, a woman's voice said, and an older, professional woman stepped forward from the crowd. I'm Dr. Patricia Wells, Director of Security at Brookstone Memorial Hospital. That footage has been in our secure servers for 8 years. When Mr. Ashford contacted us last month asking questions about the Dart family, we reviewed our archives. The footage is authentic. The timestamps and encryption confirm it's never been altered. She looked at Elena with disgust. We've already provided copies to the district attorney. Clara stared at the frozen image on screen. Her mother, hours before her death, trying to save them all. She killed my mother, Clara whispered. Then louder, her voice ringing across the ballroom, she murdered my mother. Travis nodded, his face hard. Yes, and she would have killed you too if we hadn't gotten you out first. He pulled up more evidence. Text messages recovered from Elena's old phone. I saw them today, the perfect family. Simeon Dart, successful contractor, beautiful wife, sweet daughter, everything I should have. Why does she get to have him? I'm prettier than Sophie. Younger, better. He should be mine. I've been watching their house for months, studying them, learning their routines. Soon they'll be mine. The messages continued, each one more disturbing. I got the job at the hospital. Sophie's surgery is next month. I'll be her nurse. I'll make myself indispensable. Sophie suspects something. She's too smart. I need to act now. Once Sophie is gone, I'll have 6 months to make Simeon need me. Then marriage. Then everything. The daughter will be a problem. But I'll break her. I'll make her nothing. I'll make her invisible. Travis's voice was hard as stone. Elena Morrison stalked my family for over a year before she ever made contact. She planned everything. Sophie's murder, Simeon's drugging, Clara's abuse. All of it. He turned to look directly at Elena, who was now trembling, her perfect facade crumbling. You spent 8 years torturing the woman I love, Travis said, his voice deadly quiet. 8 years making her believe she was worthless, making her father turn against her, isolating her, abusing her, trying to destroy her spirit. He climbed the stairs to the balcony where Clara stood, never breaking eye contact with Elena. But you failed, Travis said, because Clara is stronger than you ever gave her credit for, strong enough to survive you, strong enough to wait for justice, strong enough to stand here tonight and watch you finally face consequences for everything you've done. He reached Clara and took her hand, turning to face the crowd together. And Becky. Travis's voice was cold now as he looked at the younger woman, who was openly crying, mascara running down her face. Let's talk about your role in all this. Becky shook her head frantically. I didn't know. I swear I didn't know about the murders. Maybe not, Travis said. But you knew about everything else. You participated in Clara's abuse for years. You filmed it. You mocked her. You helped your mother isolate and torment her. He pulled up more footage. Video after video of Becky laughing, while Clara scrubbed floors, Becky throwing food at Clara, Becky filming Clara's tears and posting cruel comments online. And then, Travis's voice dropped to something dangerous. You tried to trap me. Seduce me. Lie about being pregnant with my child to access my family's fortune. Becky's eyes went wide with panic. Did you really think I didn't know who you were? Travis asked, and there was something almost pitying in his voice now. Becky Dart. Clara's stepsister. The daughter of the woman who murdered Clara's mother. Did you think I wouldn't make that connection? Becky's mouth opened and closed soundlessly. I knew exactly who you were the moment you introduced yourself at Columbia, Travis said, and I let you think your plan was working. I let you think I was falling for your act. Because every text you sent, every lie you told, every manipulation you attempted, I was documenting all of it. He pulled up text message after text message between Becky and Elena. Becky, he's taking me to dinner tomorrow. I think he's starting to fall for me. Elena, good. Push harder. Make him need you. Becky, should I fake the pregnancy now or wait? Elena, wait until he's completely hooked. Then drop the bomb. He'll have no choice but to marry you. Becky, what if he wants a paternity test? Elena, we'll deal with that when the time comes. By then you'll be married. The money will be ours either way. The crowd gasped and murmured. Travis continued, The pregnancy announcement you made tonight? Complete fraud. I made sure we were never actually alone. I made sure there were always witnesses, always cameras. There is no baby, Becky. There never was. A woman stepped forward from the crowd, professional, calm, in medical attire. I'm Dr. Sarah Chen, she said. I examined Miss Morrison 3 days ago under the pretense of a prenatal checkup. She's not pregnant. She's never been pregnant. The tests she claims to have taken were purchased online. Fake tests designed to always show positive results. Becky collapsed then, her legs giving out. She hit her knees on the marble floor, sobbing. I'm sorry, I'm so sorry. Mom made me do it. She said this was our only chance. Your only chance at what? Travis's voice was ice. Stealing my money? Trapping me in a marriage based on lies? Destroying my life the way your mother destroyed Clara's? He shook his head. You're not a victim, Becky. You're a willing participant. You knew what you were doing. You knew it was wrong. You did it anyway. Elena finally found her voice, shrill and desperate. You have no right to judge us. You have no idea what it's like to have nothing, to watch other people have everything while you struggle. So you killed for it. Clara's voice rang out clear and strong. She stepped forward, away from Travis, standing on her own now. You murdered my mother. You drugged my father. You tortured me for 8 years. You tried to burn me alive. And you think you're the victim. Elena's face twisted with hatred. Your mother was weak. Your father was pathetic. And you were always just a spoiled little princess who had everything handed to her. I earned my mother's love, Clara said, her voice steady. My father loved me before you poisoned his mind. And I survived 8 years of hell because I'm stronger than you'll ever be. You didn't break me, Elena. You just made me stronger. She walked down the stairs, Travis following close behind, until she stood face to face with Elena. You lose, Clara said quietly. You took 8 years of my life, but that's all you get. I'm taking the rest back, and I'm going to make sure everyone knows exactly what you are. Elena lunged forward, hands raised like claws, reaching for Clara's throat. Travis moved faster, catching Elena's wrists and shoving her backward into the waiting arms of police officers. Elena Morrison. Detective James Morrison stepped forward, pulling out handcuffs. You're under arrest for the first-degree murder of Sophie Dart, the second-degree murder of Simeon Dart, the attempted murder of Clara Dart, stalking, harassment, fraud, child abuse, and about 40 other charges I'll read you at the station. He cuffed her roughly while reading her rights. Elena fought and screamed. This is insane. I'm innocent. My stepdaughter is mentally ill. She's making all of this up. Ma'am, we have 8 years of video evidence, recovered computer files, witness statements, and forensic evidence, Detective Morrison said coldly. You're done. Another officer moved to Becky, who was still on her knees, sobbing. Becky Morrison, you're under arrest for conspiracy to commit fraud, attempted extortion, complicity in abuse, and filing false pregnancy claims. No, please. I didn't kill anyone, Becky sobbed. Maybe not, the officer said, pulling her to her feet and cuffing her. But you're still going to prison. As they dragged both women toward the exit, Elena looked back one last time. Her eyes found Clara, and the hatred there was like a living thing. You should have died in that fire. Elena screamed, fighting against the officers. You should have burned. You're nothing. You'll always be nothing. Clara lifted her chin, her voice clear and strong. But I didn't die. I survived, and now everyone knows what you are, a murderer, a monster. And you're going to spend the rest of your life in prison thinking about the girl you couldn't break. Elena let out an inhuman shriek of rage and lunacy as the officers pulled her from the ballroom. Then they were gone. The ballroom stood in stunned silence for a long moment. Then Richard Ashford stepped forward, his voice quiet but carrying. Ladies and gentlemen, I apologize for the dramatic turn this evening has taken. But justice required witnesses. Clara Dart needed people to see the truth, to hear it, to understand what she survived. He looked at Clara with kindness. That young woman endured 8 years of abuse that would have destroyed most people. But she survived with her spirit, her kindness, and her strength intact. She's remarkable, and I'm proud that my son loves her. Applause started then, tentative at first, then building and building until the entire ballroom was on its feet, clapping and crying and cheering. Clara stood frozen, overwhelmed, unable to process the sound, the support, the validation she'd been denied for so long. Travis wrapped his arm around her waist, holding her steady. Can we leave? Clara whispered, her voice breaking. Please, I need to leave. Of course, Travis said immediately. Come on. He guided her through the crowd that parted for them like water, out of the ballroom, down the marble steps, out into the cold November night. The moment the doors closed behind them, Clara's legs gave out. Travis caught her, lowering them both to sit on the steps. Clara buried her face in his chest and sobbed, 8 years of pain and fear and loneliness pouring out all at once in great, wrenching cries that shook her whole body. Travis held her tightly, one hand cradling her head, the other wrapped around her back, and let her cry. He didn't try to quiet her or comfort her with empty words. He just held her while she broke apart. When her sobs finally quieted to hiccups and gasps, Travis spoke softly. I've got you. You're safe now. You're free. Clara pulled back enough to look at him, her face red and swollen from crying. You saved me. You actually saved me. We saved each other, Travis said, wiping her tears with his thumbs. You survived 8 years on your own. That's all you, Clara. I just made sure Elena couldn't hurt you anymore. I thought you'd forgotten me, Clara whispered. I thought you'd moved on. Never, Travis said fiercely. Not for one single day. You're it for me, Clara. You've always been it for me. Since we were kids sitting by that lake dreaming about the future. You're my future. You're my everything. Clara kissed him then, desperate and hungry and full of 8 years of longing. Travis kissed her back just as desperately, his hands tangling in her hair, pulling her closer. When they finally broke apart, both breathing hard, Travis rested his forehead against hers. Come with me, he said softly. Not back to the gala. Somewhere quiet, somewhere safe, somewhere we can just breathe. Where? Clara asked. Travis smiled. Our lake, where everything started, where we made all those promises to each other when we were kids. Clara nodded, unable to speak. Travis stood and helped her to her feet, then led her to his car. The drive through Brookstone was quiet. Clara watched the familiar streets pass. The high school they'd both attended, the coffee shop where they used to study, the park where they'd had their first kiss. Everything was the same. Everything was different. When they reached the lake, Travis parked and they walked hand in hand down to the dock, the same dock where they'd sat as teenagers, dreaming about the future. They sat at the end with their feet dangling over the water, just like they had so many times before. I have questions, Clara said finally, breaking the comfortable silence. I know, Travis said. Ask me anything. When did you and Marcus plan all this? The fire, the rescue, everything? Travis picked up a pebble and tossed it into the dark water, watching the ripples spread. Marcus and I were friends in middle school, before his family moved away for his dad's job. We reconnected about 3 years ago through mutual friends. When I told him about you, about how you disappeared and I couldn't find you, he offered to help. He tossed another pebble. At first, we were just trying to figure out if you were okay. Marcus did some basic surveillance, confirmed you were in the house but rarely left. That's when we started suspecting something was really wrong. So Marcus got more creative with his surveillance methods. The hidden cameras? Yeah. We installed them during a routine home repair call. Marcus has contacts, people who can do things quietly, legally-ish. Travis smiled slightly. Once we had video evidence of what Elena was doing to you, we knew we had to get you out, but we also knew we needed to be smart about it. So you planned to fake my death. We planned to save your life, Travis corrected gently. Making Elena think you died was just the method. We needed you legally dead so Elena would stop looking for you, stop trying to control you. We needed her confident and comfortable so she'd make mistakes. Clara was quiet for a moment. You watched me for months, watched me suffer. I did, Travis said, and there was pain in his voice. That was the hardest part, watching you cry, watching you being hurt, wanting so badly to run in there and take you away immediately. But Marcus convinced me we needed time to gather evidence that couldn't be disputed, time to build a case that would put Elena away forever. He turned to look at her. I'm sorry you had to suffer longer, but if we'd rushed in, Elena would have found a way to escape justice. She would have claimed you were mentally ill, that we'd kidnapped you, that she was the real victim. We needed ironclad evidence. And the night of the fire. Marcus set a small fire in the east wing, controlled, contained, but enough smoke to trigger the alarms. He was already inside, hidden in the attic access crawl space, waiting. The second he heard the alarms, he got you out through the roof access. Travis's voice grew thick with emotion. Your father? God, Clara, I'm so sorry about your father. We didn't plan for him to go back in. We thought everyone would evacuate and stay out, but he ran back for you. Maybe the adrenaline cleared his head for the first time in years. Maybe he remembered who he used to be. He tried to save you. Tears streamed down Clara's face. He did save me, in a way. If he hadn't tried, Elena might have realized I got out somehow. His death made it believable that I died too. I know, Travis whispered, but I'm still sorry. He deserved better. He deserved to know the truth about Elena before he died. They sat in silence for a moment, grief and relief mixing together in the quiet night. What about Becky showing up at Columbia? Clara asked. You really knew who she was from the start. Travis almost laughed. The second she said her last name, Becky Dart. How many darts could there be connected to Brookstone? I called Marcus immediately. We'd been monitoring Elena's finances. We knew they were running out of money. When they started researching me, my family, my net worth, we knew they were planning something. So you let her think she was seducing you. I let her think she was getting close, Travis corrected. But Clara, I was never seduced, never tempted. Every time she touched my arm, I wanted to pull away because she wasn't you. Every smile I gave her was calculated. Every dinner, every coffee, every gym session, I was gathering evidence. He took Clara's hand. I made sure we were never alone. Marcus or my security team was always nearby, always recording. When she announced the pregnancy publicly tonight, that was the final piece we needed. Fraud we could prove beyond any doubt. Clara shook her head in amazement. You planned all of this. For years. I'd have planned for 100 years if that's what it took, Travis said simply. You're worth it, Clara. You've always been worth it. Clara turned to face him fully. I love you. I've loved you since I was 12 years old. I've never stopped, not for one single day, even when I thought you'd forgotten me. Travis cupped her face in his hands. I love you too. More than I can put into words. You're my best friend, my first love, my only love. You're everything. He kissed her softly, gently, like she was something precious and fragile. When they pulled apart, Clara rested her head on his shoulder, and they sat together watching moonlight dance on the water. What happens now? Clara asked quietly. Now? Travis wrapped his arm around her. Now Elena and Becky go to prison for a very long time. Now you get your life back. Your house, your inheritance, your freedom. Now you get to decide who you want to be, what you want to do, where you want to go." "And you?" Clara asked. "Where do you fit in all that?" Travis smiled. "Wherever you want me. I'm not going anywhere, Clara. I've waited 8 years for you. I can wait as long as you need to heal, to process everything, to figure out your life." "I don't want to wait," Clara said, lifting her head to look at him. "I've lost 8 years already. I don't want to waste another second." "Then we won't," Travis promised. He stood and pulled her to her feet. "Come on, let's go home." "Where's home?" Clara asked. Travis smiled. "Wherever we are together." 3 years later. The camera pans across a beautiful modern building with clean lines and warm lighting. A sign out front reads, "Sophie's House, a safe haven for survivors of domestic abuse, founded by Clara Dart." Inside, a ribbon-cutting ceremony is underway. Clara stands at a podium, now 26 years old, healthy and radiant in a professional dress. Her hair is longer, styled with confidence. Her eyes are bright and clear. No more shadows, no more fear. Beside her stands Travis, her husband now, his hand resting supportively on the small of her back. Clara addresses the crowd of donors, survivors, and community members. 3 years ago, I stood in a ballroom and learned that everything I thought I knew was wrong. I thought I was alone. I thought I was forgotten. I thought the world had moved on without me. She smiled at Travis, who squeezed her hand. But I was wrong. The man I loved had never forgotten me. He'd spent years planning my rescue, gathering evidence, waiting for the perfect moment to set me free. And when that moment came, he didn't just save my life. He gave me back my future. The crowd applauded softly. Today, I'm not just a survivor. I'm a licensed architect. I'm a wife. I'm an advocate. And I'm standing in a building that I designed. A building that bears my mother's name and honors her memory by helping other women escape the kind of abuse I suffered. She gestured to the beautiful space around them. Safe rooms with reinforced locks, a children's play area visible through windows, therapy offices, a legal aid center. Sophie's House provides shelter, legal aid, therapy, job training, and most importantly, hope. Hope that escape is possible. Hope that healing is real. Hope that there's life after abuse. Travis stepped forward then, his voice warm with pride. "My wife likes to say I saved her," he said, looking at Clara with obvious love. "But the truth is, she saved herself. She survived 8 years of torture with her spirit intact. She gathered her own strength. She never gave up on herself, even when everyone else had given up on her." He turned to the crowd. "Clara Dart Ashford is the strongest, bravest, most resilient person I've ever known. And this building, this haven she's created, is going to help hundreds of women and children find their own strength, their own courage, their own path to freedom." The crowd erupted in applause. Later, after the ceremony, after the donors had left, and the press had packed up, Clara and Travis stood alone in the main hall of Sophie's house. Clara looked at the large portrait of her mother on the wall. Sophie Dart, smiling, kind, full of life. "I miss her," Clara said quietly. "Every day. I wish she could see this. See what I built. See that I survived." Travis wrapped his arms around her from behind, resting his chin on her shoulder. "She knows," he said softly. "Wherever she is, she knows. And she's proud of you." Clara leaned back against him. "Do you ever regret it? The years of planning? The pretending, letting me think you'd moved on?" Travis was quiet for a moment. "I regret that you suffered. I regret every tear you cried thinking I'd forgotten you. But I don't regret the plan itself. It worked. Elena and Becky are in prison for life. You're free. We're together. And we've built something that's going to help people for generations." He turned her around to face him. "Sometimes love means making the hard choices, the painful ones. But always, always, protecting the person you love, even if they don't understand why in the moment." Clara smiled and kissed him softly. "Well, for the record, next time you plan an elaborate, years-long rescue operation involving fake deaths and undercover surveillance, maybe give me a heads up?" Travis laughed, a real, genuine laugh that lit up his whole face. Deal. Though I'm really hoping there won't be a next time. Me too, Clara agreed. I think one dramatic rescue is enough for a lifetime. They stood together in Sophie's house, in the building Clara had designed, surrounded by the legacy of love and survival and strength. Outside, the sun was setting over Brookstone, painting the sky in shades of gold and pink and hope. Clara had survived. She had healed. She had built something beautiful from the ashes of her pain, and she had done it all with Travis by her side, her childhood friend, her first love, her rescuer, her partner, her everything. "Ready to go home?" Travis asked, taking her hand. Clara smiled, a full, genuine, joyful smile that would have been impossible 3 years ago. "Yeah," she said. "Let's go home." They walked out of Sophie's house together, hand in hand, into the golden evening light. Two people who'd survived the unsurvivable. Two people who'd never given up on each other. Two people who'd built a life and a love worth fighting for. Dedicated to all survivors, you are stronger than you know. Your story matters. Your survival matters. You matter. There is life after abuse. What you went through does not define your future. It only proves your strength. Healing may take time, but it is possible, and your dreams are still valid. You are not too broken to rebuild, and you are not too late to start again. Step by step, you can reclaim your peace, your voice, and your joy. To every survivor reading this, don't let what happened to you steal what is still ahead of you. Your past is a chapter, not your whole story. You are allowed to grow beyond it, to love again, to dream again, and to live fully again. And to those who are causing harm, abuse in any form is never acceptable. It destroys lives, silences voices, and leaves scars that are often unseen. Choose to stop. Choose accountability. Choose to break the cycle. Real strength is not in control or violence, but in respect, empathy, and change. Healing is possible. Change is possible. A better future is possible. For survivors and for society when we choose to do better. Thank you for watching. If Clara's story touched you, please like, subscribe, and share. Together we can raise awareness about domestic abuse and support survivors in finding their freedom.